Welcome to my channel, guys. So I got inspired by this dress and I recreated this. Now look at how beautiful this is. The fabric petal DIY. This is really nice. So join me, let's cut it together. First of all, we want to cut the lower part of the dress. Now we are going to determine the length of your dress. You know, the upper part is our half length, and it is a three-quarter dress. So subtract your half length from your three-quarter length, and that is going to stand for our skirt length. So input your waist measurement like that, add your that allowance and your seam allowance. Locate your hip line, put your hip measurement and add your seam allowance, then you join it together. Guys, I use a seam allowance of ½ inch. There's no need for us to be using too much seam allowance. Now the next thing is to locate our before new, which is a measurement you can get while measuring your client. Whatever you have on your hip line, subtract 1.5 from it and place it on your before new measurement. If you have been watching my tutorial, you should have known this is a normal thing for me to do. And whatever you have on your before new, subtract 1 and put it on the lower part like so. Then go ahead and connect it together. Now the next thing we want to do is to go to our waistline, go down by ½ inch. That is going to be our waist slope, and then we'll proceed to cut like so. So if you think you might have issue while cutting, you can just use pin to suspend your fabric like this. And then in my own case, I want to be using the front piece to cut the back piece of the skirt part of the dress. So we have actually succeeded cutting the front. The next thing is to cut the back of the skirt part of the dress. So now I'm not even using up to 1 inch of zip allowance. I use them 0.75 inch. So now you proceed to cut like that. Make sure that the front is well placed, and you are just going to cut just same way you cut the front piece. There's no big deal. Now the next thing is to get rid of your waist slope for just the front piece and slit open the zip allowance part of the back piece. And I think that one is set. That is set like that. You want to set it aside, and then we'll cut the upper part, which is the half length of the dress. Now it is going to have strap like you saw in the previous video. It has strap. So now subtract the length of your strap. In my case, I used 6 inches, and then put your half length measurement. In my case, I use 16 inches. So 6 inches minus 16 inches is 10 inches. So now put your chest line, that is your armhole depth. You know how to get your chest line. Now put your back measurement, you know, your shoulder measurement divided by 2. And the next thing you want to do now is to impute your bust point, then your under bust. You know, we have our half length already, which is going to act as our waist. So now you connect the lines together. Now today I decided to use free hand. Okay, you know, there's no arm in using free hand sometimes. You know, if you know me very well, I do patterning and I do free hand. Now put your bust, your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which I just did, and you are going to add ½ inch. Slant your hand up a bit. Don't make it straight, just make it slant by ½ inch. Now our dart is going to be 1 inch by 1 inch. Our dart intake from the waist to the under bust is 1 inch by 1 inch. That is 2 inches. Then you are going to curve it straight into your bust point, making sure it is not pointing. We want to try and avoid that pointiness on our bust. So now we are going to do our chest tightening around there. Just do ½ inch by ½ inch. Then we are going to connect it into the bust point like so. And I think we are good on that part. The next thing now is to determine put your bust measurement, then put your ½ inch for sewing and ½ inch allowance. Do the same thing, your waist measurement, your dart intake, then your seam allowance, and you're going to join it together like so. Now I did not want mine to be straight on the neck, so I decided to make it curve a little bit. You can leave yours to be straight. And to determine my armhole, that one too is not a constant thing. You can give it any shape you like. So I decided I wanted this particular shape and I put it there. Now the next thing to do is to proceed to cut, guys. Now note, while adding measurements, I said you put your bust measurement, add the sewing allowance. You know you are going to join the side front and the center front, so add half inch for joining them, then you add the actual seam allowance. You know it is a freehand cutting, it is not the patterning method. So you go ahead and cut. So in this case, I lined just the front of the half length. I did not line the entire dress except for the front of the half length. So now we are going to go ahead and cut the back of our half length. So you want to put your zipper allowance, making sure it is the same measurement as that of the skirt part. Now the next thing is to put your bust measurement, then your seam allowance, then come down, put your waist measurement and your that allowance and seam allowance and connect. Now there is no armhole in this case, guys, so it is going to be straight on the back, and I wanted it to have a bit of curve shape too, so the reason for that, then we'll go ahead and cut. Now my strap is going to enter into the neck. Did I just say neck? Around that chest line, my back is going to be there, my strap is going to enter into it. Will enter into this point like so, then set it aside. The next thing is to cut our strap. So I made mine 1.5 inches, so by the time I join it together, I'll have half inch. I want a very tiny strap, so this is me cutting the other side of, we'll be needing two straps. And please make sure you add at least 1 inch allowance, so you are going to, in case it is okay for it to be much than for it to be less. So you go ahead and cut like so. Guys, like my channel, subscribe, and share to your friend. Now this is the major thing, oh guys. So now this is the fabric flower, the petals we want to sew. Now the length I use here is 6 inches, 6 inches by 4 inches. And note, I'm trying to manage my fabric, hence the 6 inches by 4 inches. So you want to locate the midpoint of the 4 inches, which is 2 inches, and you're going to go in by half inch and you connect it to the top like this. And please note that we are going to be having 3 layers of this petal. One is going to be 6 inches, the other will be 5 inches, then the last one will be 4 inches. No, we can't use the same size for this particular style of fabric flower. So just see what I did, and then while sewing, you just give it a little bit of pleat like that to give it that fine look. So you are going to go ahead and use this first sample, this first piece, use it to cut out the remaining pieces that you'll be needing. So my first layer is I think I used 10 pieces. So the second layer will be around that 7 pieces, and the last might be around that 4. So this is the first layer. So the next thing is to do for the second layer, but don't mind me, guys, this is me doing for the last layer. So I'm doing the 4 inches by 4 inches on. So you divide it by 2, that's we have 2 inches, and go in by half inch like that, and you are going to connect it to the top to give you that petal shape. If you have a French curve, you can use. I actually have a French curve, but I was just in the mood of using my hand to do most of the patterning. So there you go. You are going to cut this out too as well. Then you use this particular piece to cut all the pieces that you'll be needing for the fabric petals. So guys, as for the 5 by 4 inches second layer, I will do that behind the seam. So you just use the same method as this is what you are going to be using. So that is how we'll be placing it, guys. The next thing I want to do now is to cut the base. Just create a circle, create a midpoint, then if you have a compass, you can do 3.5 inches all around it. So I use 3.5 in my own case. Then I have the base, which is going to be covering the rough part of the flower before placing it on the fabric. Go ahead and sew it round and sew everything round. Be taking a pair for each. Then you are going to sew it. Then I'll show you the result after sewing. You sew it and you turn it to the other side. Repeat the same process for everything. Guys, after sewing, you have to notch. To give it a good turning, you have to notch very well. Then after notching, you are going to turn it inside out, like so. You repeat the same process for every other pieces of this fabric flower. Now that is the base. You do the finishing of the base too, and you are going to proceed to iron them very well. Now this is the first layer that I want to join here. You make sure that it is lapping on each other by ½ inch, like so. So if it is 10 pieces you want to use, you join all of them together like this. If it is 8, it depends on how big you want your fabric petal to look. So you keep joining until you are done joining all of the first layer piece. Now I think I am done. So you need to just connect everything together to form a hole, to be a hole rather. So we have our first layer set. Now the second thing is to join our second layer together as well. So in this case, I decided to give it a little bit of pleat. No, don't get me wrong, I could have done the first layer like that too, but I chose not to. Nothing spoil at the end of the day. So you keep joining. Don't forget to make them lap on each other by ½ inch. You keep joining everything together. Take your time while doing this. If you're in a hurry, you don't want to do this. Now join it together as well to form a hole. We have our second layer set. That is our third layer there. I'm going to go ahead and do the third layer too. Yeah, which is what you see me doing. Do not forget, the first layer is more than the second layer is more than the third layer. So if there's going to be a fourth layer too, it has to be lesser than the third layer. Don't forget that. I mean, there might be other method, but for this my own method, that is how it works. Now we are going to place our third layer like this. Now I think I have some few more pieces left, so I did not want them to waste. But then for the last layer, for the middle, join two pieces together and you fold it like this. You want something that looks like a rose petal or whatever you call it, just something beautiful out of the fabric. Now see the way I am doing it. You can see how beautiful this thing looks. Go ahead and stick it very well so to hold the two together in place. In your case, you might decide to just bead the center, but I wanted mine to look very real, like the actual petal. Now you are going to put that in the center of everything like this. It is going to be in the middle like this, and see how beautiful it is looking already. Now these few pieces left, in order not to waste them, I'll just find somewhere to put them. After all, nothing spoil. Now I've gone ahead to tack everything. This is the part where I'm joining the middle part. So I used my glue gun and our petal was ready. Now the next thing is to join our upper bodies. You can see, join it by the ½ inch allowance that you added. Then you repeat the same process for every other thing that has to be joined, like so. So I've gone ahead to iron everything. You can see the bustier part. I've ironed it. I told you I'll be lining the front piece of the half length, so I've done that. I've ironed everything, even the skirt part. So I've ironed where the dart will be. So you go ahead and put your dart where it is supposed to be. Now I've joined both lining and fabric and main fabric together, and I've actually impute my strap. I told you it is eventually going to be ½ inch, and you can see that it is. So now this is the back. I'll be piping to give us that finishing. I'll be piping it. I've gone ahead to take the darts. So the next thing is to conceal the rough edge at the top like this. So I actually like doing the coverage like this. Now that method works very well for me. So go ahead and notch. Then after notching, if you think it is going to hinder you a bit, you want to trim it off to have a neat finishing. You can see me trimming it off like that. Then turn it to the right side and you top stitch like that. Repeat the same process for the other side of the back. Then the next thing now is to join the upper part to the lower part. Do the same thing for the front too, and then make sure you put zip to your back. So look at my beautiful petal. So you just play, but before placing it, we want to join um the front and the back together. So I've been put my zip, just hold it by the allowance you put. I've done that, guys, and look at me putting UHU or U gum, and guys, I actually tagged it and see the results. It is actually worth giving it a try. And that success dance after the whole thing. Guys, thank you for watching till the end. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next class. Bye.